So this is Hi-Fi Rush, developed by Tango Gameworks, who also developed the Evil Within games and Ghostwire Tokyo. This game's quite different from what they've previously made, and it's published by Bethesda Software. Originally, this was an Xbox exclusive, but now it's available on the PlayStation 5, which is really nice because I get to play it now. This game is very, very cool. This is the hideout. It acts as basically a hub world. You come here in between levels. You can level up your character. You can interact with everybody. Like there's 808 here, who is the like robot cat, named after the TD 808 drum machine. If I'm not mistaken, it's called the TD. It's like a Roland drum machine. We have Macaron here, really cool dude. He's sort of like the bronze of the operation, but Macaron can also upgrade you. He's a very cool dude. Cinnamon here, who's a robot that draws his facial expressions on with a marker, which I think is awesome. We have Corsica up here next to the couch. Corsica is a great character too. And from time to time, the characters will talk to you and you can catch up with them and everything. I think it's pretty cool. Let me skip this dialogue scene for now. Rhythm Tower, model viewer. How fascinating is that? We have a model viewer. We've got to unlock everybody though. Okay, I mean, I guess I have 26 tickets. Yeah, there's a model viewer. And then you have Peppermint down here, who I think is probably my favorite of the companions. She's pretty cool. We have a board here just of all the graffiti. These are like collectibles scattered throughout the levels and everything. But most importantly, you have level select, and that's cool. You can also play with 808, which why wouldn't you choose this, you know? 808 also produces sounds from the 808 drum machine, and I would expect nothing less, honestly. Let's play some levels just to get a good example. I've already replayed some of the stuff, but let's just pick one of the earlier levels just for now. It kind of bothers me that you can't just go to certain sections. You have to basically replay the entire level from the beginning, but whatever. There are some collectibles scattered throughout the missions, so there is a bit of replay value. I really do like this game though. This game is really great. The art direction is fascinating. I like the animated art style, and also you notice that the items in the environment will actually interact with the music. So they'll jump up like this, I guess like a sewer cover. Everything in the environment moves in rhythm. So there's a metronome here that you can access basically by pressing the touchpad. There's a metronome. This game has a rhythm-based combat system, and you don't have to stay on rhythm. It's not very strict, but you will get bonuses in combat if you stay on rhythm like that. Pretty cool. Combat is great in this game. It's probably the best part, but I love the art direction. I think the characters are interesting. Oh, this dude's name is Chai, by the way. I just didn't even mention that. These robots are funny. The dialogue is very well written. This game is just great all around. Um, the combat is probably where most of the enjoyment is going to come out of it with rhythm-based systems. I like the exploration. I think it's cool too. As I said, the art direction is great. The dialogue is well written. This game is actually genuinely funny at times. I've said at times. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Scott Pilgrim. That's the vibe I got off of it at least. But as I said, it looks great. It's cool all around. This is just a very, very cool game. Also, you have an orange meter above your health, and that's kind of like a special meter. It builds up over the course of fights, and it allows you to perform basically special moves, kind of like fighting game supers, if that makes sense. Well, I mean, that does make sense. What am I talking about? But I think this game is just great, and I don't mean to repeat myself, but you know, I'm just reiterating here. Let's get some combat stuff. Obviously, early on in the game, you don't have all the characters. You have Peppermint at the start, but over the course of the game, you get Corsica and Macaron and all that stuff. Look at that, parried that. Anyway, but you unlock the ability to like parry. You unlock this thing. It's like a grappling hook, kind of like the Super Shotgun in Doom, but not as cool. Keep in mind, the combat isn't going to be very great. Like my performance isn't going to be great because I'm focused on kind of speaking right now because I'm doing this live. Look at that, I'm juggling this big dude, and then here comes another big dude, and then look at that, it's cool, you know? That stuff's cool. And of course they explode and you get gears. You can use gears to level yourself up. Let's just parry that stuff. That was a directional parry too. But just this combat system is just about keeping a flow going. Like that, you know, it's just about making sure you can stay on rhythm as much as you can. You do get like a little bit of a score sheet at the end of each combat section. Like my just timing was 59%, which means I was on beat 59% of the time. Um, my only complaint about this game is that at times I felt like there was a little bit too much combat. This is Rekka. You fight like a boss. Like there's like 5 or 6 total bosses. The bosses are great, by the way, very great. They're fun to play too, and each boss is unique. There's a good variety of enemies though, so that's another good thing about this game. Some of the enemies do force you to switch it up. Like some enemies will have a force field and you have to use Peppermint to break it. Some enemies have like a big shield and you have to use Macaron to break it. And some enemies you have to use Corsica. And so some enemies will throw out attacks and you have to parry it. It's a training room. So the enemies do force you to switch it up. You can't just do the same thing all the time. So here's a training room. It's like Sifu with this training room. Except this game is a lot easier than Sifu is. There are harder difficulty modes that you can play in this game, like Rhythm Master, in which you have to do perfect inputs the entire time, otherwise you're not going to succeed very much. Enemies do incredible amounts of damage. Let's go to a later level. You do unlock extra stuff in combat. There's a skill tree, so you can level up Chai so he can do more attacks, and your assists can do more attacks too. As I said, all around, this game is just really great, and I love the art style. This game looks cool, it sounds cool, just everything about this game is cool. It's definitely got, like, great presentation. The dialogue is well written, the characters are interesting, they're very entertaining, and look at how beautiful this game is. Just look at this. It's just beautiful. Like, look at this. But, this game is just beautiful to look at. It's really funny at times, as I said earlier. I don't mean to repeat myself, but there's just nothing but good things I can say about this game. I did feel like maybe it was a little bit too long, but that's just like a personal preference thing. Here's Mimosa. Mimosa is probably my favorite boss fight in the game because I don't want to spoil anything, but she's a really fun boss. Because you're on a stage and you're fighting her and you have to kind of win the crowd over. Really fun stuff. You do get to explore and collect some stuff from time to time. Let's go to some of the combat sections here. But as I said, this game is just great all around. This is a very, very enjoyable game. Technically, it didn't come out this year, but this is definitely one of my contenders of best game of 2023. But technically, it counts for 2024 too, but I'm not going to count it. Maybe Stellar Blade would be really cool. Let's do this one. But the later levels, obviously, are basically just like big boss fights.
This is it, everyone.
So,
Bet you didn't think we'd still be hanging out, Peppermint?
here's all the characters together in an elevator. As I said, the characters in this game are very well written. It's very entertaining. There's no character in this game that isn't interesting. They're all designed really, really well, too. All around, just a really cool game. Let me get some combat, actually. Preferably, like, late game stuff. Just a sec. I need combat. Also, Roger Craig Smith voices Kale in this game. Yeah, that's right, the voice is Sonic the Hedgehog, among other things. Okay, I've made a mistake here. I'm gonna return to title. I want like a... I didn't mean to return to title, I meant to return to hideout. You can tell this is live, can't you? I'm too focused on trying to talk about this game. But as I said, this game is great, it's really cool, I didn't need to get into heavy combat. I want to show sort of some of the diversity of the combat that exists here. And I'm glad that this is available to be played on the PlayStation. Of course, if it would have remained an Xbox exclusive, to tell you the truth, I probably wouldn't have even played it. But I am glad that I was able to play this game, because it's just fun all around. The combat isn't hard at times. Like, I never felt like this game was difficult. Of course, you can make it hard if that's what you want. But yeah, the characters are great in this game. And look at this. Look at this setting. It's really, really cool. Just look at that. This game's got some beautiful locations. Do you have what it takes? Come lead our production team. It's very funny. It's a good satire on some things too. These are the bigger enemies. Look at these guys here. These are the small guys. Oh, I didn't even parry any of that. Okay, well, I'm making mistakes. Look at that, parried that. Interesting. But, at times, I kind of felt like there was too much combat. See, I parried, which means I broke that guy's guard. And here come the big dude. So, this enemy had a shield that you have to break using Macaron and everything. Okay, I parried that. Also, you have this, grappling hook with L1. Oh, God. And this grappling hook basically acts, as I said earlier, as the super shotgun. Parry that one. I'm not focused on combat right now, as you can very clearly tell. Let me use all three of my assists at the same time. Now that's cool. Here's everybody, dudes. Don't get me wrong, I'm not great at this game. You can very clearly tell that I'm not great. But there's some combat. I'm going to go to one of the challenge rooms. This game is just very, very cool all around, as I've said earlier, like a lot of times. I'm just reiterating this stuff. Here's the arcade machine. You actually get this when you finish the main story. There's also like challenges, like benchmarks that you can do over the course of the game, where if you parry a certain amount of attacks, you can actually get some stuff out of it. It's still normal just for now. This is the big BPM rush. You're just supposed to keep the rhythm up, as a wise man once said, demonstrating an Iron Man combo in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That's the big thing about this game, just keep the rhythm up. Very, very enjoyable though. This game is very, very fun. And as I said, the characters are very well designed, the characters are well written, the dialogue is just great. The story, overall, just, there's not much to it, but then again, there doesn't really need to be, because this game is just so stylish. It looks cool, it sounds cool, it is cool. Look at this, see, I'm actually kind of focused on combat right now. Oh, I tried to parry that and messed it up. You're gonna hear that a lot. I tried to parry that, but I just didn't. It's like third strike all over again. I swear I parried that. It's a frame too late. Also, there's a good variety of enemies in this game, as I said earlier. They do force you to switch it up, and the combat never feels like, oh great, I'm fighting this guy again. There are some enemies that are annoying. Also, some enemies here will have these really big parry sessions where you can get like a one-hit kill if you parry every single attack. And the stuff is timed, so you do have to actually put effort into parrying like these big sequences. But you do get pretty decent rewards out of it. These small guys are kind of annoying from time to time. I'll demonstrate one of the supers here. There's this. It just does a ton of damage. And depending on what character you use, like assists and whatnot, you can actually get like different animations. That went nowhere. But yeah, the combat in this game is great. It's really fun. I'm very bad at it. Don't let me fool you. It gets really cool. And there's like a lot of different things you can do. There's a bit of freedom in terms of like, if I get an enemy into the air, I can actually suspend them in the air by using Peppermint's assist. Let's use everybody all at once. Maximizing damage per minute here. You also can air parry. That's the thing too. Look at this. Parry that stuff. And I'll pull myself over to this guy. So I use Peppermint to suspend him in the air. And you can extend air combos with that. But you focus on speaking right now, so you're not going to see the absolute best combat ever. I guess you're supposed to fill the BPM meter and it gets a little faster. Overall, this game is very, very cool. Highly recommended. There's just not much I can say about it. That just, you know, that's bad. This is just a really cool game. I think it's an 8 out of 10, though, honestly. I'm not, like, absolutely in love, like, infatuated with this game. I think it is really, really cool. And I would love to see more games like this in the future. It's just very stylish. So yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, very highly recommended. I think it's an 8 out of 10.